She watch
on my Instagram, all on my Twitter page.
Retweet. Duck face on me.
She on her timeline.
She lurk
on her Instagram,
taking pics.
all on her Twitter
Them
page.
pretty lips. Duck face on me.
She on my timeline,
She
my
watch.
timeline, my Instagram, my Instagram, my Twitter page, my Twitter page.
Duck face on me.
Her timeline, her Instagram, her Instagram, her Twitter page, her Twitter page.
Duck face on me.
My timeline, my Instagram, my Instagram, my Twitter page, my Twitter page.
Duck face on me.
Her timeline.
I like how you're getting it.
So what's up, everyone, man? We back in this thing with season 3 up in this month, man. It's your boy Suave,
And it's your girl, Lena Love.
and we here on the Man versus Woman show, man. This podcast is going hard, man. So here's our Twitters right here. Mine is at Climax Suave Polo, and Lena Love is at _ Lena Love 18. And you know, that's Climax with a K. I gotta remind people that it's Climax with a K. But man, Lena, how you feeling today, man?
I'm feeling pretty good.
Feeling good? Okay.
Pretty good, yeah.
Dude, the chat is going live right now, man. We have a special guest today. What's up with you, Lo-Fi? How you doing, man? What up, Ryzak? Rise up in this thing. Ray.
Oh, we haven't seen Ryzak in a while.
I know, man. Shoot, I guess brought him out. I like that. What up with your Leah? SPG. Joe. What's up with you, man? We even got Jeff in this thing. So, Cloudy B. What's up, Cloudy B?
Hey, Cloudy B.
So, I want to say that, man, look, shout out to my boy Joe. Shout out to Nerd World. And shout out to Sky and OG and Joey. I had to shout my kids out because they told me to shout them out today. So I love you girls. That's y'all shout out. And for the guys that I mentioned earlier, thank you for supporting the channel, man, for new subscribers. We're moving on up, Lena, man. So let's get into this guest, man. This person right here, she's such a sweet person. When I asked her husband to ask her if she can come on the show, and she was just so happy to come on, man. She was excited. I'm so happy to have her here today, man. We have our second female that's been on the show, correct? The second?
Yeah.
The first? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna welcome to the stage Sierra Rose. What's
Hey
going on?
everybody.
Hi.
How's it going?
Man,
Good. How are you?
everything going
Doing
great,
good.
man.
Yeah, glad to be home. It's actually the weather's getting ready to get kind of nasty, so I'm glad I got home just in time.
I know, right?
Yeah, we're supposed to get up to like, what was it? The last I heard for our area was like 14 to 16 inches of snow.
Holy crap.
In like the
Right.
next 2 days. So it's gonna be interesting. But
Dude, we don't have that type of weather here in Texas, man. I will run from
Man,
that
it must
type of-
be nice.
I will run from that type of weather. What else, Shadow? How you doing, brother?
yeah, it gets a little intense sometimes. Like we'll be in a blizzard warning after midnight, so like travel will be pretty much almost impossible. So it's I would definitely like to come hang out in Texas and soak up some heat because they're calling for -7 on Sunday. So
Whoa.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it's bananas.
And Chairman Gaming, what's going on, brother? Thank you for stopping by. Everyone, thank y'all all for supporting us today, man. So let's get into it, Sierra. So we've heard that you like a few things, and we're gonna ask about those things, man. So you can elaborate on your end. So let's start off with the baking, man. What got you into baking? Like, you know, what got you into that?
I kind of fell into it by accident. The job I had before I moved down here, I was working in the deli, and I was good friends with the weekend baker. So she was kind of teaching me how to like bake for like business baking on the side. And then that kind of followed me when I started looking for a job here after I moved in with William. And it kind of just fell into my lap that there was a full-time baking position open for the grocery store that I had previously put an app in. So I'd actually had a job so I could move. And then the first day was the only day I was like, I can't take it. I'm sorry. This is not for me. Like, I have to travel a long distance. It's not going to work. The very next day, my now boss, called and asked for an interview. And then I just kind of jumped right in and started learning
So you,
tricks, you know?
That's awesome.
what is your favorite thing to bake, man? Because
Oh.
I love me cheesecake. I love cheesecake. So
That's
my favorite.
That's really hard I guess it's really hard for me to pick just one thing. I guess out of the whole aspect of working in the bakery, my favorite thing is decorating cupcakes, decorating cookies, decorating donuts. Like, I have sprinkles in like almost every color that you could imagine, like stars, moons, like shiny. It's just awesome. So just to be able to decorate and be creative is really interesting. So
Oh yeah.
So with that, have you ever had the opportunity has someone ever come to you and said like, "Hey, make up your own design as long as it's on this kind of dessert or this kind of pastry"? Like, have you ever been able to do that before?
kind of. I'm still trying to find like my signature item, if you will. And like,
Mhm.
realistically, what I would like to do is I would like to learn more. Like, I would like to do like decorating classes, and because I can, like bake a cake at home. Like, I baked a shoe cake for William one time. And then my little nephew
Not
just
to give him the
recently.
boot though, right? Not to give
No,
him the boot.
no. Well, he had made a comment. He's like, I'm going to finish this game on this stream or I'm going to eat my shoe. Well,
Oh, I remember that.
he didn't finish the game that stream. So to be funny, I baked him a shoe cake,
Oh,
which was actually a layer cake. It was 3
time to eat
layers.
up.
And it had buttercream frosting and fondant. And then my little nephew just turned 2 not too long ago, and he really likes cars. So I made him a couple Lightning McQueen cakes.
Oh, that's cool.
But it doesn't look like a Cake Boss cake, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you could definitely tell, like, I'm green. I would like to season a little more and learn the tips and tricks. Like, I know enough to make it look like what it's supposed to, but I haven't quite figured out how to perfect it yet.
Yeah.
So it's always a work in progress, and you're always learning new things and, different ways to do something. But my baking job is like very different from like, like those Hallmark movies, like
Yeah.
that what it's like running a bakery. Like, that's not really what it's like. So it's different baking on like the store side versus personal,
Yeah.
So you know what I would want? I would like someone to make me a gigantic cake, like just for me for my birthday, and I'm just gonna dive straight in it. Just dive in it. I'm not even gonna eat it. I'm not gonna eat not one.
So you're gonna throw yourself in the cake.
Throw
You know, to make a
myself
cake that big,
in
they gotta
the
use,
cake.
poles and things like that to like hold
Yeah.
it together, right? So you're
PVC
gonna
pipe
dive.
and
Yeah, there you go. He's gonna dive into the cake and like get one like jabbing into his stomach. He's gonna air himself out.
You know what? Or bake a cake around me and I bust out of it like the Incredible Hulk, like
So we're gonna.
totally
That'd be too funny
doable
for
though.
me.
Like, it's
They have
totally
surprise
doable.
cakes that you can come out of the middle from. So
Well,
Dude.
and realistically, all you would have to do is build a platform that has a hinge so you could open it.
Yeah.
And then you could walk in and then it can be closed around you.
Oh,
Is
you know
how
what
that
would
would
be
work.
fun though? You know what would be fun?
Oh,
If
hold on.
someone baked the cake of if you watched Austin Powers, the big guy that was like, get in my belly. They bake the cake that
Oh,
look like that guy, and
the big boys guy.
eat myself out of his stomach. That'd be crazy, man. That'd be crazy.
You know what though? If a person has the time and the patience, I mean, you can build cakes that don't even look like cake. Like it's
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
insane. Like the lady who is kind of like the head of our supplier that we order through, like
Mhm.
because you know they have departments and she's like the head of the
Yeah.
bakery. Like she's gotten a degree for baking. Like she's put in her time. She got to guest judge a cake competition in Vegas one time, and they had to do 3 cakes. One was their signature cake. I can't remember what the other one was. And then the last one was a cake that had moving parts. And she showed me pictures. And it's just insane. Like, if you really put your mind to it, what you can build with food.
Mm-hmm. Hey, do you think you can outbake SPG with a bake off?
Maybe. I don't know. It depends. There might be things that he's really good at baking that I'm not. Because there are some things that I could not bake to save my life. It's just no matter how hard I try, no matter what I do, it just doesn't turn out. So I just stick, like my favorite wheelhouse is like the decorating cupcakes and decorating donuts and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I have no doubt that he could beat me, to be honest.
What about I know that you like animals, man. So what got you all into animals? Me personally, I'm not a animal person. You know, I don't do pets or anything like that.
Not
Um,
even a goldfish.
no,
See,
not even goldfish.
I grew up in a house that always had pets. So like, you know, we started
Me too.
small with
That's why I
like
hate it.
fish and
Yeah.
but it's not for everybody, you know, like as much as I would like to say everybody loves animals, that's not true and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I had them, you know, like we started out with fish and then we got birds and then we had cats and dogs and hamsters and then eventually after I moved out, I had a ferret, I had a snake, and then a couple other random animals. So I've just I don't know, but my favorite is dogs. I'm a huge dog person.
See,
Oh,
if I was to get an animal, it's gonna have to be an animal that's gonna have a job. Like, if I, you know what I'm saying? He's gonna have to have a job. You know, get me a tiger. Give me a tiger that's gonna protect that whole backyard. You know what I'm saying? That give me that. You know, but I need
well,
him to
I
be
mean,
straight,
That's gonna
loyal
do
to
more
technically,
me.
than protect your backyard.
Yeah, yeah.
technically, cats can be good mousers and keep pests out of the home. They would earn their keep, you know.
See, nah, that I can do that. See, I need you to do some real work. I need if someone come in this house and try to get wrong, the moment they see you,
I'm
they
trying to get
rethink
wrong.
their whole life. Their whole life flash between their eyes, and they're like, you know what? This
Meow.
is a bad idea. I should leave. You know what I'm saying? I
I
need
mean,
that
dogs
right now.
can have that effect on people, though.
Yeah.
Or you know what? Another good pet for me, get me a mongoose. You know, because they'll keep snakes away. You know, easy.
Oh,
Give me
I mean,
that.
with
Well,
you living in
But
Texas, I mean, that would be necessary, I guess. But
man, it's
um,
illegal to have though. I don't think you can own a mongoose. I don't think they're very like fierce animals, man. They'll scratch, bite, and
mess you
everything.
up.
You know,
Yeah,
but
they're
get me
feisty.
that. You know what I'm
I mean,
saying? Let
listen,
me
people
have
that
that.
have things like wallabies and stuff like that for pets. So I mean, it might be possible.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, gosh, what are they called? They're the pop term for them is finger monkeys. They're little
Oh, a
marmosets that,
marmoset.
yeah, they're like 6 inches big, and that's as big as they get. That's like
Yeah,
my auntie was always like, I want one so bad. But you know, depending on where you live, like there's a lot of like different legislations and like even
yeah.
with dogs, like the town that I came from just got rid of their pit bull ban. Pit bulls had been banned since the early 80s and they just got rid of the pit ban.
Wow.
And that is one topic I'm very passionate about is like pit bulls and excuse me, how they get the bad rap and like
They're the most sweetest dog breed ever, and they get the
Really?
worst rep out of all of them.
Yeah, and it's insane. Like, and if I could, I would have a house full of them, but I'm not the only one that lives here. So I don't, I'm not at liberty to make that decision on my own.
Yeah.
Nah, man, that'll be too much for me, man. Because if an animal, if I'm gonna have an animal, he can't live in my house. Like we can't be in the same domain. You gotta have
What?
another job. Because I don't think I can trust you to not tear up something in the house. Like it could be
But
something small.
did
Like
you know, Suave, if you were to look up all the dog bites, like the majority of the dogs that do the worst bites are like Chihuahuas, or not the worst bites, but the most bites. The smaller dogs are,
Are the ones who do it, yeah.
yeah. And
mhm.
I know I say that I would like to have a whole farm of animals, but Buckley is plenty enough. He's perfectly content being an only child. I got him before William and I got together, so it was just us. He was only ever around like my family, and we didn't have young kids at the time, and we didn't have a whole bunch of extra stuff going on. So it's good. It's
Yeah.
a I say I want more, but it's kind of like, well, I guess I can't say that either because I don't know what that's like. But the idea of it is way better than the actual like financial stuff and the
Mhm.
Yeah.
responsibility, because like big dogs got to eat big bags of food, and it's just one is enough for now.
Man, look.
Yeah.
I had that big dog, and he was, just getting too big. I'd be feeding him to those burglars that came in the house. That's what I'd be feeding. They're
I
like, "Dang,
saw
man, what
I
what happened
saw
to Ray? What happened to Richard? He broke in that man's
What
house,
happened
and
to
we never
Richard?
saw him again."
I
Yeah.
saw a Great Dane Dalmatian mix the other day. That was the
Wow.
biggest dog I've seen with my own eyes. It looked like a spotted bear sitting in the passenger seat. I was like, oh my gosh.
Dude, yeah, Cherry talking about that weather y'all have up there in North Dakota, man. I know SPG done told me a few times, and my first experience with snow in Texas made me hate snow. So I don't even want to see, and it was nothing compared to the stories that he told me. So I don't even want to see that.
Well, and definitely living in an area where that's not the norm, I can see how that would shake it up. And for the life of me, cannot understand how people enjoy snow, like why they actually volunteer to go spend time in the cold and the snow.
Mm-hmm.
Not it. Maybe living in my state is what has ruined that for me, but
Yeah.
Right?
if I have to bundle up so hard that like putting my
Yeah,
arms
you're
down
walking
all the
like
way doesn't
stiff and
happen.
stuff.
Yeah. Like from A Christmas Story, I can't put
Yeah.
my arms down. Like there's
Mm-hmm.
literally times I went out to like shovel my truck out where it was like that. And I'm just like, it's hard enough to move, and then you got to move heavy, wet snow, and it just gets to be a little much.
What about I know you like doing arts and crafts and reading and stuff. I want to know what kind of books you like reading, man. What do you like reading? What
I am a very random reader. I
okay.
definitely prefer fiction over nonfiction, but I have read some nonfiction books that were just wonderful. But see, what I do is I'll look at a book and I'll look at the cover, and then if I like the cover or the title catches me, I'll read the back. If the back catches me, then I read the first couple pages to up to the first chapter, and then if I like it, I'll read it.
Mm-hmm.
Very rarely do I read books that I have to push myself through, because for me, reading is like a leisurely downtime. So
Mm-hmm.
it's something I do to enjoy. I don't want to have to make it feel like homework or like it's a job trying to struggle through. Like, I'm going to be honest. The last book I read, it took me 2 days. I could not put it down. It was a suspense thriller book. I would have to say that's probably my favorite kind, but
Okay.
I read everything. It took me 2 days, and that's with going to work and then coming home and taking care of stuff at home or whatever, adult responsibilities.
Yeah.
2 days it took me to burn through like almost 500 pages.
Mm.
And then the next book I grabbed, I was like, I'm going to read Wuthering Heights. I'm not going to read that book.
Mm.
If I have to translate each paragraph, no, it's too much work for me. I'm not in a lit class, so I read for enjoyment, not to struggle.
No, I feel you, man. Now I like Hill Harper. He's probably my best, author. The Hill Harper that's the actor. He wrote a few books, man, and I picked up one of his books, and I was like, "Dang, dude, this dude got skill. Like he has skill, And I just kept on reading his other books, man. He has about 5 books, I think. Yeah, about 5 books, and dude, it's good to read, and it's an easy read on things. I don't like it to be too difficult.
Yep.
I just want to read it, enjoy it, get something from it, move forward. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I also like books that make you think, like strategy books, like The Art of War. I love those books, man. 48 Laws of Power. I love that, Um, so
You know,
those are the type of books that I like reading. Yeah. What
it,
about you, Lena? You reading?
Right now I'm reading this book called The Stolen Marriage by Diane Chamberlain. She is one of my favorite authors. She writes really good when she writes her book, she usually does like a second one that follows after, so she does them as pairs. And
awesome.
she's freaking awesome. I love like her mystery books and stuff like that. So she does a few different genres of like writing, but this one is I love this one. I read it while I'm at work. And I mean, I'm not really big on reading all that much, but sometimes when I'm in my reading moods, like I could really read through a book. And so now when I have downtime at work, I read it. And people walk over and they'd be like, "Why are you reading?" I'm like, does it bother you?" Like,
Right.
so they don't see me as a person that'll read. So like that, like actually reads just for enjoyment. So it's been really great. I'm almost done with it. And usually for me, if the title pulls me in, then I'm like, all right, maybe I'll read it. Usually I'm not one of those people where I like to read the back of the book because I feel like if I read the back of the book, it might just tell me a little too much about it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like previews for like movies and stuff. They
Yeah,
always put
yeah,
too much in the trailer.
yeah.
Always.
So this was the first book ever that I actually read the back of the book and then also the prologue before reading the book itself. So, and usually I don't like to do that because I feel like it ruins it for me. But I'm glad I read the prologue for this book though, because it was kind of like a movie where, like, you know how they have some movies where, like, it'll show you the ending and then it'll
Work.
bring you through how they got there.
Yep.
That's how this book is. And
Ooh,
I'm so glad I read the prologue this time.
Mm.
awesome. Yeah, well, and like I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but like when I'm reading and I'm like in the book, okay, I'm like the house could burn down around me and I would have no idea. I mean, like when I'll sit down to like really read, I'll tell William, I'll be like, "Hey, I'm going to read for a little bit. If you need to get my attention, give it a couple tries, but I'm going to
Yeah.
be reading." So,
Mhm.
and then like it's almost like when you watch TV or a movie, like when you talk to the characters or you're like, "Oh, that was a dumb move," or all like, "Oh, I can't believe you don't know this is the person that did it." Like, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I'll be reading and William will be over at his computer or whatever doing his thing. And then I'll just start talking and he'll be like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "This stupid character is making me so mad."
Right.
Just like, I get kind of into it, but like I've read books that like The Art of Racing in the Rain is a story about a guy and his dog, and I bawled like a child when that book was over. The movie not as good as the book, but that's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Definitely though, tearjerker. Like I came downstairs from reading and William's like, "What's wrong? Are you okay?" And I was like, "That book was just really sad." So very interactive with the book,
Yeah.
Like, and I think
I've
that's
been like that with this one that I'm reading now. Like at work, I'll be reading and I'll be like, oh, well, that makes sense. But why did they do this? And because with the book right now, I'm at a part of it where um, it's starting to explain why she didn't marry a certain guy, why she didn't marry the guy originally from the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
So when I started reading it, and like just a part of the story was just like, she's engaged to one guy. She goes on a mini like vacation with her fiance's sister, ends up getting drunk, sleeping with a guy that they met out there, and now she's pregnant.
Oh,
So
snap.
as I was reading it, I was like, oh my God, she's not gonna do it. She's not gonna do it.
You're like,
And
oh,
then when it starts
why?
describing like it's all going down, I was like, oh my God, she's stupid. Like she actually fell for it. And literally what I love about it is the fact that like not only are you reading the story to like interact with it, but they also like tell you what the person is thinking in their mind. So you
Yep.
get to know like what the person's exactly thinking. I'm like, oh my God, she thought about not doing it, but she did it anyway. Why was she? And like some of the guys will come back there and they'd be like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, don't, just give me a second. Let me finish this really quick. Like I'm almost done with this little section. I'll talk to you in a minute. Just like, but you don't understand, this book is really good. And they're just like, okay.
I was like, no, hold on. No, seriously.
Yeah,
Just
like
give me
hold
just
on,
a
let me
second.
finish this really quick. Yeah, like
Well,
it's so interesting. I love it.
And that's the thing
So,
about
hold on.
reading a book on a break is like, it's like, I don't want to put it down. It's like, I
Yeah.
really don't want to be responsible with
Yeah.
my job. I just want to get to the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
Let me so we got a question in the chat, man. Then we're gonna end the show and do some shout outs, man. So thank you, Dave, for stopping by, man. Appreciate it.
Dave.
Man. You gotta come on the show, Dave. I hope you're willing to do that, man. So Slimpy Slimpy Simply Pone Gaming would like to know how did you meet SPG?
Okay.
We all
So
wanna know.
my auntie lives across the street. And I was going through a breakup. And like one thing you need to understand about my auntie is she's a wee bit of a matchmaker. She's the one who got my mom and dad together.
Oh.
So I was going through I done broke up with my ex and I was just going through a hard time. And my auntie was like, you need to meet my neighbor. You need to meet my neighbor. You need to meet my neighbor. And I told her, I was like, I'm not ready for that. I'm just trying to focus on me. I just got out of a bad relationship. And it got to the point where my other auntie was like, hey, you need to like leave her alone. And then I just looked him up on Facebook one day because I was curious. And I looked him up on Facebook and I added him. And then we messaged back and forth a little bit. And then, we talked a lot. We got to really know each other before we met face to face. And then we had our first date at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Aww.
And then the rest was just kind of history from there, got to know each other and I got to meet because he had a dog at the time. So I got to meet his dog and hang out for a little bit. And at first it might not have seemed like I was interested, but naturally, like you're scared a little bit going into a relationship after a considerably bad one. I mean, it wasn't like god awful bad, but it was still a bad breakup, And so to take that step to get to know someone else it can be a little difficult. And I think anybody in that situation where they're thinking about like dating for the first time, it's always a little daunting, like to get to know. But it's funny because my auntie, she'll just kind of be like, you look like you need a woman. Like after I moved,
as he's saying that too.
No, she literally knocked on his door, looked over his shoulder, and was like, "You need a woman." And then I can't remember if it was before that or after that. There was an auction uptown, and my aunt and uncle were so into the auction stuff, like it was like a pastime for them. And William was at an auction, like he didn't really know her that well. And she just walked up to him and goes, do you like big women? Like, because she was
such an upfront question, but wow.
Exactly. See, and that's like auntie's got no filter.
Yeah.
But she was going to try and set him up with my cousin. And but she was telling me about him and she's like, you should just meet him. And I was like, I'm really nervous. I'm scared to do that, And then you make that first jump and you really get to know someone. And if you have a connection, it's easy. It's not a problem anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I may have seemed cold at first, but it wasn't because I was trying to be cold. I was just,
you're just getting over it.
Yeah,
You
you know, and
know,
it's nerve-wracking at first.
yeah, well, and it's like scary to, you know, just like, and I've looked at William a couple times since, and I'm like, I don't understand how people date nowadays. Like, it's such a scary world out there.
Oh my
Seriously.
goodness.
Well, look,
Like,
I understand that, man. I do.
you gotta be
do.
so
What?
careful.
You're married. How can you understand it?
I
Listen,
understand it.
I
Because, like,
my
Lena, you have to date first. Like, I've dated women before.
Suave,
You know what I'm saying?
you've been with your wife for how long?
Lena, you still have to date someone.
No, I
before
understand that, but you don't understand the dating world now, okay?
No, I
Because
don't.
you are
I just
happily
see it.
married, okay?
I
Whereas
see it,
for
though,
people
Lena.
like
I
us,
see it.
it is
Lena, I
hard,
see it,
okay? Like,
Anyway, we get close to closing time, man. You want to shout out anyone or yourself, Sierra?
Well, I will shout out SPG. You know, he's got a lot of stuff going on, you know, he does his streams on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and then he does the rock show on Tuesdays, and he'll do Man Cave with you, Mr. Suave. And
Oh yeah.
we are cooking up a podcast for Thursday, and if all goes well and we maintain power, we will be launching our podcast tomorrow with Mr. Lo-Fi Monk. So
Nice.
I'm pretty excited about that. I'm hoping that the weather will behave. They are calling for power outages in certain parts of the state, so hopefully the weather doesn't reach that point. And then, you know, just kind of random places he'll jump in, and just really, I want to shout out the community. Like, everybody in this community is awesome. Like, you're all a great big family, and I appreciate every single one of you. You know, we've all been through some pretty serious stuff together, and, you know, I just think that the community should be thanked for being as awesome as they are.
Nice, man. So speaking of SPG and Man Cave, shout out to everyone that's been supporting the Man Cave, because next week we may have something special for you guys. Give you a little bit more. Me and SP is working out, so be on the lookout for that. And dude, thank y'all all for supporting us, man. This was a good show today, man. Thank you.
it really was. I feel like this is the most activity we've had on one of our live shows.
I was just about to say that we need to get more famous people like you. Sierra.
Well, I had a blast, and I greatly appreciate the invite. You know, I was definitely really nervous at first because, like I said, you know, like, if you're a streamer and you're in it and you do it all the time, it's really not that big of a deal. But I've only ever done something like this. You know, I did that podcast with William a couple of times, and then, you know, I did a show I jumped on with Jeff one time, and then this. So it's, you know, I'm still pretty green at it, and I'm like, you know, nervous and anxious, but it's awesome. Like, you guys have good energy, and I just had a good time. So thank you for the invite. I would definitely like to do it again.
Nice. We'll invite you back, man. We'll
definitely appreciate it.
Awesome.
So, man, for all y'all out there, thank you. And, you know, don't forget to free my grandma.
My timeline,
She watch,
on my Instagram,
blowing kiss,
all on my Twitter page.
retweet, duck face on me,
She on her timeline,
she lurk,
on her Instagram,
taking pics,
all on her Twitter
them pretty
page.
lips, duck face on me,
She on my timeline,
she
my
watch,
timeline, my Instagram,
blowing
my
kiss,
Instagram, my Twitter page, my Twitter
retweet,
page.
duck face on me,
Her timeline,
she
her
lurk,
timeline, her Instagram,
taking
her Instagram, her
pictures,
Twitter
them
page, her
pretty
Twitter
lips,
page.
duck face on me,
My timeline, my timeline, my Instagram, my Instagram, my Twitter page, my Twitter page.
duck face on me,
Her timeline,